Hey, Magic fans, welcome back. This is your captain speaking here on Capnclydes MTG. Modern Horizons 3 is still popping off with some leaks, and we're starting to get some new stuff. It's still some old stuff mixed in there, but hey, you know, when people spill the stuff early, what do you expect? Don't forget, comment, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. They'll keep us sponsor free, try and get to 1,000 subs. Once we do, it's a giveaway time. And links in the description for ways to buy cards from all the box openings and so forth, so check them out. Help support the channel as well. So let's get into it. We're going to start off with a rare this time, Aether Revolt. They really have a thing for naming cards after the sets. I just want Wizards to know when they listen to this, because you know they won't. Stop doing that shit. It's hard to look them up online. Anyway, moving on. 2 red and 2 for an enchantment has Revolt. As long as a permanent you control left the battlefield this turn, boy, that's an old one, right? If a source you control will deal non-combat damage to an opponent, or a permanent the opponent controls, it deals that much +2. Whenever you get 1 or more energy, Aether Revolt deals that much damage to any target. Ooh. So in Commander, this is going to be hot stuff. There are tons of ways to gather energy so you can do other things. And if you gathering energy starts letting you pop things off the field and kill shit while you're doing the other thing, man, oh man, this is going to be popular in Commander. I've been waiting 4 mana. Hell, well, even 4 mana, you might see some play in some older formats if the energy decks become real popular, because this is good. All right, next we have a group. We got Recruiter of the Guard here, white and 2 for a 1/1 mythic. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a creature card with a toughness 2 or less, reveal it, put it into your hand. This is obviously going to be expensive because, you know, Imperial Recruiter. It's kind of weird that it's worded toughness 2 or less, because you can get a lot of stuff as toughness 2 and it's got a big old muscles, we'll say. Anyway. Emrakul's Messenger, blue and 1 for a 2/1 uncommon with the Void. It has flying, so it's already a pretty good rate. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, you get a 0/1 Eldrazi. That is pretty sweet, not going to lie. Thank God this isn't in Standard, because whew, it would be Eldrazi Winter all over again. And I'm not even sure that's not going to happen in Modern. But anyway, Obtruse Apparition. We've seen this one before. It was black, white, and 2. Exile target non-land permanent. You may cast that card while it remains exiled. Spend any mana. We've seen this leaked early. We didn't know if it was black or white. I mentioned it was probably black because it's a black kind of thing. Or it could have been blue. Apparently this one is black. 4 mana is okay. Probably going to be more of a Commander card, though. It is some sweet removal. Golden Tail Trainer, white, green, and 1 for a 1/3. Aura and equipment spells you cast cost X less to cast, where X is its trainers is this card's power. When it attacks other modified creatures you control, get +X, where X is also its power. This is going to be definitely an include on a lot of enchantment equipment decks, mainly enchantments. And it's going to reduce a lot of enchantments to be very cheap, very fast. It doesn't reduce colored mana, but it does reduce colorless. So, stuff. All right. Also with that, we have a Birthing Ritual, which is new, green and 1 enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, if you control a creature, look at the top 7 cards in your library, then you may sacrifice a creature. If you do, you may put a creature card, mana value X or less, from among those cards on the battlefield, where X is 1 plus the sacrifice creature's mana value. Put the rest on the bottom of your library to random order. So it's okay to print this shit, but not unban Birthing Pod. Birthing Pod at least took mana. This is free and comes out faster without mana dorks. Just going to put that out there. Now, granted, you can't get any card out of your deck. It's only the top 7. But if you're playing a 60-card deck, there's not many cards left when you start with a can of 7. I mean, that leaves you 53 cards in your deck. By the time you play this, you've probably drawn 2 or 3, so now there's 50. I mean, there's a good chance you're going to find your shit. I'm just saying. And you don't have to sacrifice if you don't find your shit. So, yeah, this is... I'm going to say it should be a $50 card, but it's probably only going to be about 20 or 25 until someone breaks it, and then they'll ban it. which will keep it at $20. But anyway, Ghostfire Slice, red and 2, devoid. It costs 2 less if the opponent controls a multicolored permanent, deals 4 damage to any target. This is just like Ghost Flame, colorless damage, so it can kill pro creatures. With 4 damage, it might see some play, especially if multicolored decks are a big thing. Because 1 red, deal 4 damage with no colorless damage. That is a big thing. Also, it's to any target. So if they're like, ooh, lay my 2-color thing and I'm going to kill you with. And you're like, for 1 red, bolt you for 4 in response. Thank you, drive through. Anyway, Nada, Winged Wisdom, a blue, green, and 1 for this 3/4 flyer. Good rate. Creatures you control have, whenever this creature becomes target of spell or ability, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a land, put it on the battlefield. Otherwise, put it in your hand. The ability triggers only twice each turn. Yeah, twice. Not once. Twice. This is going to be a Commander All-Star. Sweet mother of God. Yeah, if this is your Commander, you play it on turn 3 and they kill it, you might get a land out of it. Yeah. Also, it says, becomes a target spell or ability. It doesn't say opponent, so they could target it. You could resolve it. Then you could cast a 1-mana spell to save it, again, causing it to trigger. It's in blue, so there's all kinds of spells that will exile it, bring it back in, so that it resets the use it twice ability. There's tons of shenanigans here. Trust me, this is going to be a good card. Put it in any deck that makes things blink, protects your cards, or targets your own stuff. Huge, huge card. Buried Alive, we talked about that getting reprinted. We've seen it before. Phyrexian Tower reprint. Hello, Nurse. Where did that come from? Whoops. Got excited, couldn't stop the reel. Yeah, so Phyrexian Tower gets a reprint. Holy cow. That's going to be a pricey. That's a spicy meatball. Yeah, so if those of you don't know from back in the day, taps for a colorless, sacrifice a creature, add 2 black. Even the art's good. Wow, sexy. Eviscerator's Insight. This is very interesting. A black and 1. In addition, sacrifice artifact or creature, draw 2 cards. This doesn't give you a treasure like the one from the D&D set does, but it does have flashback of 5. Now, with that being said, you're probably not going to flash this back in most competitive decks, unless you're playing Standard. Now, in Commander, though, this is a thing. Charitable Levy, a white and 1. Non-creature spells cast, or non-creature spells cost 1 more to cast. When a player casts a non-creature spell, put a collection counter on Charitable Levy. Then, if there are 3 or more collection counters on it, sacrifice it. If you do, draw a card. Then you may search your library for a Plains card, put it onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. This card is bonkers. Yes, it's an uncommon. This is... God, how do I say it? This is land tax / mystic heuristic study / tithe smother and tea. Like, this is a little bit of everything. It doesn't stay around forever, but the ability to get a land out and draw a card while slowing your opponent down on turn 2, holy cow, is this good. I just noticed the name on this. Crabamation. I love it. It's a demon crab. I had those when I was younger. Anyway, black and 4 for this 5/5. It has a merge from artifact for 2 black and 5. So you have to sacrifice an artifact to emerge it, which is cool because it doesn't have to be a creature. It just has to be an artifact. When it enters the battlefield, target opponent exiles top card of their library, a card at random from their graveyard, and a card at random from their hand. You may cast a spell from among these cards, exile this way without paying its mana cost. That's pretty cool. That's a thing. And lots of things it is. This is going to be a Commander All-Star, and with all the Eldrazi silliness going around, there might be an Emerge deck that pops off in Modern. I mean, we already have, the Elementals, that come in and you do the thing that make them sacrifice and come back in and trigger twice. Then you can emerge them into this guy. Like, there's going to be some just crazy shenanigans going on in Modern. Okay, back to this. Fanatic of Rowanus, green and 1 for a 1/4 mana dork. God, I like big butts and I cannot lie. Anyway, Ferocious, which means you have a creature 4 or greater. This thing taps for 4 mana. Woo! And it has Eternalize, which means if you do manage to kill this thing somehow, for 4 mana, they can put it on the field as a 4/4 that taps for mana, which means it is now tapping for 4 mana. Or punching you in the nuts. One of the two. Necro Dominance. We've already talked about this. It was spoiled earlier. It's the new Necropotence. It's supposed to be fixed. Trust me, it's not. It's going to be broken. Probably going to be banned at some point. But get them while you can, because there's going to be a deck around it, and by God, it's going to be good. Mindless Conscription, black and 2. When it enters the battlefield, whenever you draw your 3rd card each turn, you amass 3 zombies. This is really weird. Draw a 3rd card, you amass 3 zombies. That makes it 3/3. If you do it again, it becomes a 6/6. There's already a lot of card draw decks out there. Drawing 3 is a bit steep, but I mean, you play this and brainstorm once, it's game on. So who knows? This is probably going to be good. I'm just going to say it. Ajani Fells the Godspire. We already showed this one. We were not impressed. And we're sad to see it. But anyway, moving on. We have Ashling Flame Dancer. So the Ashling is back, this time as a legendary creature. 2 red and 2 for a 4/4. You don't lose unspent red mana as steps and phases end. Magecraft. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, discard a card, then draw a card. If this is the second time the ability has resolved this turn, it deals 2 damage to each opponent and each creature they control. If it's the 3rd time, add 4 red. Holy wow. This is pretty cool. Not sure what kind of deck it fits in, but 4/4 for 4. This is definitely a commander card with shenanigans attached to it. I like it. I like it a lot. Moving on, we have the horrid Shadow Spinner. What is this? Some cheesy Spider-Man ripoff? Black, blue, and 1 for a 2/3 lifelinker. Whenever it attacks, you may draw cards equal to its power. If you do, discard that many cards. I mean, it's fine, I guess. I mean, I can think of better things to put in my Delve deck, but anyway, moving on. We have the Hunger Tide Rises, green and 2. For 1, 2, and 3, you get to create a 1/1 black and green insect creature token. That's pretty weak. On 4, sacrifice any number of creatures, search your library and or graveyards for a creature card with mana value less than or equal to the number of creatures sacrificed this way, and put it onto the battlefield. Okay, so this is going to be really cool in Commander for all those token decks, because you can sacrifice a butt ton of tokens and go get that big nasty Crater Hoof you've been looking for, and win the game. Yes, you'll have to sacrifice 7 tokens. Oh, you'll decimate your battlefield. Trust me, you'll be fine. Yeah, probably won't see a whole lot of play, but definitely as a one-of in Commander, this is going to be a thing. Well, it's going to be pretty good limited too, not going to lie. All right, next we have the Gleaming Flesh Warper. I don't know how the hell that's gleaming, but anyway. For a waste mana and 2, it's an Eldrazi drone that's a 2/2. Whenever you cast a colorless spell, you get to create an Eldrazi. That's not broken at all. Jesus Christ. Whenever a colorless creature other than this enters the battlefield under your control, the Gleaming Flesh Warper deals 1 damage to each opponent. Because why not? There is still room left in the text box. Let's add more shit. As an uncommon, this is insane. Great for limited. Holy cow. And I think this is going to see Commander and maybe even some Eternal format play. Because it ramps when you cast other Eldrazi. Jesus Christ. It just seems really good to me. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but like, wow. Just, woo, wow. All right, next we have the Waste Cape Battle Mage. These names and pictures, I tell you. Waste mana and 1. Has a kicker of a green and a kicker of a blue and 1. That's a whole lot of kicking. When you cast a spell, it's a 2/2. If it was kicked with green, exile target artifact or enchantment. All right, so it's a basically a Reclamation Sage if you do that. When you cast this spell, if it was kicked with blue and 1, return target creature and opponent controls to its owner's hand. What is that? Anyway. I mean, I guess for 5 mana, you can get the whole shebang. But to be fair, this is just another good Eldrazi to play that's a disenchant. I mean, they're pretty much making Eldrazi's that can do things that the colored spells can. So they can have sideboards pretty much. Just going to put that out there. So, yeah, more broken stuff. Anyway, Archway of Innovation. We got a new land, and it's pretty. You guys remember this thing? Remember this card? Gate to Nowhere and all that good stuff. But the thing, anyway. Land. Archway of Innovation enters the battlefield tapped unless you control an island. Okay, fair. For tapping it, you can add a blue. Or for a blue and tapping it, the next spell you cast this turn has Improvise. Your artifacts can help you cast the spell. Each artifact you tap adds 1 mana, yada, yada, yada. Interesting. This is going to be really cool in the artifact deck because most of them don't have Improvise. You got plenty of artifacts already, so you can cast stuff for free. It's going to be good in the Eldrazi decks if you have artifacts. But the artifact deck, which is normally used in blue, this is going to be a Modern All-Star and definitely addition of, oh, it's not even legendary. Sweet Jesus. Yeah, it's going to be rough. It's going to be real rough. Moving on. We have Guardian of the Forgotten. We got the Effluent Warrior. He's big, he's bad, and he's kind of hairy. White and 3 for a 4/4 uncommon with Vigilance. Pretty good rate. Whenever a modified creature you control dies, manifest top card of your library. Probably not good enough to see any real play, but that's a limited all-star if I've ever seen one. Tell you what. All right, next we have the Nyxborn Unicorn. Well, that's a name, ain't it? 1 white and 1 for a 2/2 enchantment unicorn. Mentor, enchanted creature is +2/+2 in Mentor, or you can bestow it for a white and 3. What that means is when you mentor something, if a creature is smaller that attacks at the same time this does, you put a +1/+1 counter on one of those attacking creatures that's smaller than this creature. So, I mean, fine for limited. That's it. Now we have some good stuff. We have the Nyxborn Hydra, green and X, common for an 0/1. Has a bestow of 2 green and X because, you know, Hydra things. Reach and Trample when it enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it because it's a Hydra. And if you enchant it and bestow it onto a creature, they get +1/+1 for each +1/+1 counter on Nyxborn Hydra. And they have Reach and Trample. So this is probably the best enchantment bestow spell. Especially when you have a whole bunch of things that are going to make enchantments cheaper to cast. Saying. We have the Hydra Trainer. This is a sweet reprint. And if it's not, I remember this picture. You can't tell me it's not. Sweet reprint. Love the fact they didn't change the art. It's probably one of my favorite, more likable arts that I like. I won't say my favorite because I like some pretty wild shit. But anyway, still, I love the art on this. Green and 1 for a 1/1. You may exert Hydra Trainer as it attacks. When you do, target creature gets +X on the turn where X is the number of counters on permanents you control. Sweet Jesus. When you have a thing with, Reach and Trample and it's like 14 or, let's say it's a 5/5. And you make it a 10/10. What? Plus, you can adapt this thing for an extra 3 mana to put 2 counters on it, so that's going to make everything bigger when it swings. Yeah, this is a thing. If you're not playing this in your Hydra decks, I know it's not a Hydra, but you should. So there you go. We have Metastatic Evangel. Boy, I'm surprised I got that name right. White and 1 for a 3/1. Whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, you get to proliferate. Holy shit, that's good. 2 mana, a non-token creature. So just creatures coming into the battlefield, just proliferate. This is also a human, in case nobody noticed, for the human deck with Thalia's that puts counters everywhere. Jesus. So this is probably going to get a good run at that. I had to see if it works in that deck. So look out for that. Next, we have Kolazak's Command. Oh, we're getting Eldrazi commands. It's going to get deep now. So 2 waste mana and X. It is a Kindred instant. Choose 2. Target player creates X01 Eldrazi tokens that you can stack for mana. Or target player scries X, then draws a card. Mediocre at best. Exile target creature mana value equal to or less than X. Removal. Exile to X cards from graveyards. Very good. This is a sweet rare. There is no reason not to play this in any deck. I mean, other than the fact you're going to have colorless mana to cast it, or waste mana. But, it is sweet. I mean, you can ramp with it. Scrying and then drawing a card is fine. The ability to remove creatures is really good. I mean, especially for Eldrazi decks, if you put this in it. And Exile and Graveyards, like, there's lots of good options here. I like it, and I can't wait to see more commands. Next, we have the Glyph Spirit, a white and 1, 2/2 that has Bestow. Landfall, whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you get to put a +1/+1 counter on the Glyph Spirit. The enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for each, +1/+1 counter on the Glyph Spirit. So, pretty good for an uncommon. It's cheap, easy to bestow, easy to cast. This might become popular because bestowing onto creatures will save you from losing this creature to like board wraths. And the counters that go on this to make it bigger stay with it when it comes off, because when you bestow a creature and you kill the creature it's been bestowed onto, this falls off and becomes a real creature. So it prevents board wipes from just completely resetting the battlefield. It's very cool. So this one seems really good as an uncommon because it's really cheap enough to get things done. So we'll have to see how it plays out, though. And then finally, we have a couple we missed from the previous day. We have Imskur Iron Eater, red, black, and 6 for a 5/5. Affinity for artifacts. Pretty sure this is a reprint. Enters the battlefield, you draw X cards, lose X life, where X is half the number of artifacts you control, rounded down. Red and 3, sacrifice an artifact, deals damage equal to the sacrificed artifact's mana value to any target. Pretty good, not gonna lie. Then we have Pyretic Rebirth, red, black, and 2, uncommon instant. Return target artifact or creature card from your graveyard to your hand. It deals damage equal to that card's mana value to up to 1 target creature or planeswalker. Limited at best. I mean, if you could dome somebody in the face for the cost of a world spine worm, I'd be down for that. But no. So, do what you can. So, with that said, guys, that is all we got for today. Thanks a lot for watching. I do appreciate you hanging around. Until next time, be kind. And as always, I hope to see you across from the game table. Maybe playing this in sealed if I can save up $100 or so, because this set's expensive to draft. Jesus.